Last day we have discussed about Karak and up to ablative case we have completed last day. 1 minute. So last day we have completed uh, case, and now we are just trying to continue with a different notion of Sanskrit grammar. We have already completed this one. So from nominative to vocative, we have locative. We have already discussed yesterday, uh, day before yesterday, because yesterday he has engaged uh, philosophical aspect of Sadharam Pundarika Sutra. So after that, we are just trying to know another concept, that is in Sanskrit language. Whenever you are talking about the word, mainly it is divided in four parts, that is called as Nam, Akhyat, Upasarg, and Nipat. So one by one we will learn about Nam and Akhyat, then Upsarg and Nipat. So first of all, Nam and Akhyat. That means Nam, which is which is directly narrated as Subant when you are talking about uh, Rama or Nirjaras or Vishwapa like word. It is clearly mentioned in Sanskrit grammar as the suffix says, sub suffix along with sub suffix you can use in Sanskrit language these terms. So how you will add suffix, how you can create a word, all these notions are mentioned in all these you need to add, you need to learn the Ajant Pullinga Prakaran and so on. So first of all, when you are talking about any noun, you are just trying to learn about the sub suffix, and later on you can use case and other uh, uh, terms. And when you are talking about verb, that indicates the action, and it is mentioned as akhyat. So naam and akhyat, these two are the main base component of sentence structure, because when you will try to learn about the exact meaning of that sentence, you need to know how you will identify the verb. According to that particular verb, you are finding the noun or subject. And regarding uh, this the first one, subanta or noun pad, it includes not only noun but also the pronoun. So whenever you are talking about pronoun, there are 35 pronouns which you can divide in six different categories in Sanskrit grammar. So first of all, you need to know about noun, and regarding noun, if it is indicated as ending with a, ending with a, ending with e. For masculine, again, regarding feminine, it is divided in different way, and in the same way for neuter gender. So each and everything you can learn from either Lav Siddhanta Kaumudi, what we have mentioned earlier, or Siddhanta Kaumudi, if you wish to learn in detail. But normally, you should understand that whenever you are talking about Sanskrit words, you will find there are four categories only. First one will be the Nam, that includes noun and pronoun and all these things. Second one is Akhyat. Akhyat indicates the verb. We will discuss later regarding verb. So, first of all, noun, and after that, pronoun, which there are 35 kinds of 35 pronouns, and you can categorize it in six different forms. And another important thing when you are learning about the sentence structure, adjective is the plays important role. Why? Because when you are creating sentence, or you are learning how to extract meaning from the sentence, at that time you need to understand that uh, which is qualifier and which is qualified. So adjective is very important thing. So you need to identify adjective, and once you are able to identify the adjective, then it is quite easy, because whenever we are committing error, most of all, most of us, we are confusing regarding adjectives. And after that, cardinals 1, 2, 3, 4, when we are using the number, in which way we should use, that is also important. So when you are talking about word in Sanskrit, naam, akhyat, upasarg, and nipat. Regarding naam, we have already mentioned noun, pronoun, adjectives, and here we are finding cardinals. And in the same way, you are well aware of gender. Normally, we find masculine, feminine, neuter, and that is translated as pulling, striling, and napumsakling. Regarding number, singular and plural, you find in Hindi and English, but here you are finding one more, that is dual. If it is indicating one object, that is singular. If it is indicating two objects, that is dual, and other than that, you are counting as plural. So in this way, you can identify each and every term in Sanskrit. When these are concerned with norm. Now we are talking about akhyat. Akhyat means verbal roots or kriyapad, which is called as tingant in Sanskrit normally. So approximately you find 2000, 2200 verbal roots you will find in Sanskrit. If you see the dhatu part of Acharya Panini, there are 1970 verbal roots you can see, and each and every verbal root you can create different types of verb, because all six sentences and four moods, all these are based on this one only. All six tenses and four moods, you can coin the verbs with the help of these verbal roots. वही लिंक है, वही लिंक है, कल वाला ही है लिंक. हाँ वही वही उसी से है लेवल. So we need to keep in mind that all these six tenses and these are concerned with six tenses and four moods, and these are called as kal or lakar. These are called as lakar. So whenever you are finding lakaras, that is lut, lit, lut, lit, lot, late, and again you regarding lung, ling, lung, ring. These are 10 lakaras. These are concerned with six different tenses and four moods. Whenever I am talking about six tenses, please don't get confused. Six tenses means different types of uh, regarding past. You will find two and more. In this way, you will find there are six tenses and four moods which are concerned with lakara, 10 lakaras. And not only this one, when you are talking about ling lakar, you will find there are two types, vidhi and asi. Okay, so and another thing, it is divided in two different parts. That is atmanepad, parasmepad, and some of the those verbal roots, they are used in both pad. That is that those are called as ubhayapadi dhatu, or the verbal roots which is used in both as both types. Form will be in different types. And it here also you find there are three numbers: singular, dual, and plural. When you are saying pathati, pathatah, pathanti, aham, saha pathati, tau pathatah, te pathanti. When you are using one subject, then you are using singular in the for noun also and for verb also. That will be according to subject only. If it is one person, Ramah, then it will be Pathati. If you are using more than two, then it will be Ramah, or in the same way, it will be Pathanti. So, according to that, you can change it easily. And all these verbal roots, these are as per the structure of those verbal roots, how you will coin the verb with the help of those verbal roots. It is divided in 10 different categories. You can see here, that is bhwadi, adadi, juhotyadi. Adi means etc. Means first one will be bhu, verbal root bhu will be the first one. Then that category will be counted as bhwadi. Second one, adadi. Third one, juhotyadi, divadi. So normally we are aware with bhwadi. For example, pathati, chalati, hasati. All these are under this category only. So, but we need to keep in mind that not only this such type of categories are there, but also there are 10 different categories are there. So what you are finding, that one verbal root can create number of different types of verbs. So we need to understand the structure on the basis of which we can coin different types of verbs, which will denote the different tenses, different moods, with the help of lakar or those tenses and moods. Not only this one, but also the suffixes. For example, if you are using for Parasmepad, at that time you can use tiptasji, siktastha. Normally you are aware with titah, anti, like that. If you are using Atmanepad, te ate ante, you are aware with te ate ante like this one. But you are using ta atam jha thas atam dhom id vahing mahing. These are the suffixes. It is not the stroke, it is just suffixes. So whenever you are trying to create noun or pronoun in different form, for that you are using su ojas utsas, like these sub suffixes. When you are creating verbs, for that you are using tin suffixes. These are the name of suffix. So either you are using suffix, sub suffix, or you are using thing suffix. Along with these suffixes, you have different uh, more different suffixes, which will be treated as krit, stri, and tadjit. But which is which are very interesting. That is krit suffixes, because it helps us to coin to create sentences easily. So we will learn those suffixes also. But right now, so tense and moods, there are I have already mentioned there are 10 types of lakar, and you can count these lakar as this one, and it is very easy to memorize, because 6 are ending with ta, 6 are ending with ta, and 4 are ending with nga, and these are as per sequence of that alphabet which we have learnt in earlier stage. A, E, U, Ri, A, O, like this one. Lut, lit, lut, lit, late, and lot. And again, which is ending with nga, fifth of ka, kha, ga, gha, nga. So that is lung. Again in the same way. A, E, U, Ri. Lung, ling, lung, and ring. So these are 10 lakaras. And when you are moving to see another thing, like I have mentioned Nam, Akhyat, then Upasarg and Nipat. Upasarg, that is prefixes. And pra, para, up, som, like these prefixes, just trying to change the meaning of that particular word. For example, if you are using verbal root, that is sah harati. Harati means to taking away or just kidnapping. But when you are using different prefixes, it will give the different meaning, and that's why you are understanding upsarg in this way, that upasargen dhatvartho baladanyatra niyate prahara hara sanghara vihara pariharavat. Upasargen, by that prefix upsargen, dhatvartho, meaning of the verb or meaning of that verbal root. Upasargen dhatvartho balad, by force, balpurvakam, by force, anyatra niyate, it takes the meaning in different places, by which by those prefixes the meaning of that verbal root can be taken different places. And in the second line, he is using different types of examples. Prahara, har, sanghar, vihar, pariharavat. Prahar, we can take the term prahar, ahar, sanghar, vihar. All these are created by that verbal root hri only. But all these gives different meaning. So this is the very interesting thing, or you can say that magical thing, that by different types of prefixes we can create n number of verbs, n number of verbal forms, which will give different meanings. So you have, if you have one single verbal root, you can create n number of different forms of verb. If you have one single noun, you can create n number of nouns which will give different meanings. So this capability you will find in Sanskrit language only. Not only using prefixes, if you are using suffix, you will find the same thing. You can create n number of terms, different verbs, different verbal forms, different noun forms. And after that, we see nipat. Nipat is directly not used in the Hindi and another language. You can compare it as avyay or indeclinable. Avyay means which is not decreased. What you have what is given, that will be as it is. For example, cha, that means and. Tatha, again the and. If you are using he, certainly. So there are different types of indeclinable which will be used. You can use while you are creating sentences. Along with these notions, naam, akhyat, upasarg, and nipat, you need to understand about sandhi rules, rules of euphonic combinations, compounds, the rule of compounds, that is samas, gerund, voice. All these are very important thing, but we are not going to elaborate all those components, because our goal is quite different. But all these are helpful to learn what we are going to study from next day. For that, these will be helpful. That's why I have just reminded you that don't forget all these things. Otherwise, you will be in trouble while you will be trying to extract the meaning from those sentences. So these are the thing. Example of indeclinables are given here. That will be very helpful while you are creating sentences. For example, adya, hyaha, swaha, paraswaha, atra, tatra. English meaning is given in the bracket. You can understand easily. So sarvatra, yatha, tatha, katham, sada, kada. You can use while you are creating sentences or you are learning something. So this is the first part of today's lecture. Second part we will continue uh, after 2 minutes break. You will ask what you are trying to know, or if I have skipped something, you can ask so that we can continue the next part of today's lecture.
Sir, can you show the very first slide? I missed that.
Very first slide, I think you are talking about this one.
Verbal roots का पहला वाला जो था,
Mm-hmm.
इसके पहले हाँ, कई एक निकल गया इसका मतलब, जहाँ वर्बल रूट्स था वहां तक आई मिस्ड.
कहाँ से स्टार्ट किया था हमने आज?
नहीं, ये सब तो नहीं देखा था मैंने. लिंकिंग में रह गया हम कि कहाँ कैसे कनेक्ट करें. हाँ, ये 2 के पहले, ये जो 2 पॉइंट है इसके पहले वाला स्लाइड जो है.
हाँ, you see, I have started with this slide, and the first one that is concerned with naam, akhyat, upasarg, and nipat. because when we are talking about Sanskrit words, we can divide all words in four parts. That is Naam, Akhyat, Upasarg, and Nipat. Naam, you can identify Naam as noun, pronoun, or adjective. And when we are talking about Akhyat, that deals with Tingant or Varg. The specific thing which you need to keep in mind, there are 35 pronouns or sarvanam, which has been divided in six different categories. And when you are talking about verbal root, that is, for that you need to keep in mind there are 1970 verbal roots which is mentioned in Dhatu Path, and if you are counting another Gana Path, Gana, then you can find 2200 verbal roots, and these are divided in different categories. And when you are forming the verbal different forms, then you are using different
No,
tenses or
I've heard
lakar.
this bit. Just इसके पहले वाला
Okay,
slide sir. इसके
this
पहले,
one.
इसके ठीक पहले. Yes. हाँ.
हाँ, ये जेंडर, ये लिंग के बारे में, masculine, feminine, neuter, and singular, dual, and plural.
Yes.
Okay, now I am deconnecting this one from the next part. Now, in our first module, there are two different topics which was concerned with Sanskrit language, and another one was concerned with literature. Whenever we are talking about any literature, it is deeply associated with the culture of that specific nation. And when you are talking about Sanskrit texts or Sanskrit literature or Buddhist literature, whatever which is uh, developed in this country, you need to understand the fourth elements of the country. Why? Because the literature is deeply associated with the culture and tradition. So uh, we can say that these are the four components or four major elements of that particular culture. If you are not trying to know the culture of the particular place or particular uh, specific country, not only the specific country, you need to understand the local scenario also. If you are talking about the specific text in Sanskrit literature, then you need to go in a specific part of that specific part of the country where it has been retained. It has been retained. For example, if you are talking about uh, Shishupal Vadh of Magh, you need to know about the specific time period of the great poet Magh, and what was the background of that particular poet. In the same way, if you are trying to learn about Buddha Charitam, you need to understand who was Buddha Ashwaghosh, what was his uh, specific area, what he has achieved while he was in the court of that specific king. So all these things, all the background and all these things you need to understand, then only you can uh, understand the theme of the specific text. You can understand the style of uh, that particular poet. Otherwise, you will just translate, you will not go to the specific part of that. You can't get the specific meaning of that particular text. If you are talking about Indian Sanskrit literature, you must know about Indian tradition, Bharatiya parampara, of what learning process, in which way we are capable to learn any text, in which way we are capable to write the text. So you need to understand way of gaining knowledge in Indian tradition. You find there are three components. First one is the guru, who is the base pillar of this tradition or this process. And second one is shishya. I have written here the term guru. I have not written here teacher. Guru and teacher, both are quite different. Both term gives different meaning. That's why I have written here guru. And another one is shishya. That is not student, is again the different term, but shishya. Another one, the third component is the process. When you see the Gurukul system of India, then you can assume it easily, because when you learn the text of Srihars, you will see he is saying Adhiti Bodha Charana Pracharanahi. Means first you need to go through the text, you need to gain the knowledge, then you need to then only you need to keep make it your own. If you are not making it own, then it is not your. So adhiti, then bodh, then acharan. If you are saying satyam vada, speak truth, but you are not speaking truth, then no one can understand your word. That will be just a sentence only. So acharan, then only you are going to preach or teach or in the society. So these are the main these are the basic things you need to understand. Otherwise, nowadays what is going on, I am not talking about that one, but when you are trying to learn Sanskrit literature, you need to keep in mind the actual tradition, in which way they have given these texts to us. Now, if we are bifurcating, then first of all we see the Vedic texts from Sanghita. Sanghita means the Ved, Rigved, Yajurved, Samved, and later on we see Atharvaved. And in the same way we find the Brahman text of each and every Sanghita, then Aranyak text, Upanishad text, then the text which is denoting the phonetic, how to learn in its philosophical or philosophy of language part of that philosophical Vedic text, which is called as Pratisakya or Siksha text, Siksha Granth. So, but you need to keep in mind that these are not quite separate texts, Brahman or Aranyak or Upanishad. You will find that the part of Sanghita is called as Upanishad or Aranyak. So all these are associated, and we have limited texts which are available. Major part of those texts which are not available. And when we are talking, saying that it is apaurushe, apaurushe means there are two notions, you know very well. If you are see the traditional view, they are mentioning that it is apaurushe. Apaurushe means no one has written, no one has created these texts. And another one, they are talking that it is pauruse, or they are saying that if you are talking about text, someone has written it. So there is no dispute at all. You need to open your mind, you can understand it easily. When we are talking in traditional ground, which is saying that it is apauruse, it means they are talking about the knowledge. They are not talking about that particular text. And who is saying that it is the text and someone has written? It means they are thinking about that printed text. So the printed text, Rigved, that is quite different thing. When traditionally we are talking about the Ved or Vedic text, it means it was just knowledge, and no one has created this one. So, and all these are Brahman, Aranyak, and all these are associated with each other. So you can't bifurcate clearly. And major part which is not available nowadays, because it was uh, we are finding it in the oral tradition. So some of those texts are available, some of those are not available. Some texts are just mentioned in different later texts. So these are we are finding in such way. First one is Vedic, and the second one is Laukic. Laukic I will mention in a different part. This one, first one is Vedic, and later on we see another Vedang. Vedang means the text, the discipline which is helpful to understand the actual meaning of those Vedic texts, because Vedic texts have been written in such form which is not easily understandable, because we have limited knowledge. So we are not capable to extract the meaning which they are trying to convey. For those, we need to learn different discipline which is concerned with Vedang. That's why it is called as Vedang. And for that we find there are Siksha, Kalpa, Vyakaran, Nirukta, Chand, and Jyotish. These are different disciplines, and each and every discipline has number of texts. If you are talking about Siksha text, a number of texts you will find in Siksha discipline. In the same way, Kalpa, it has different types of sutra texts. Dharma Sutra, Sulva Sukta, Drisya Sukta. You will find in different different types of texts. In the same way, Vyakaran, if you are talking about Vyakaran, we are finding only one Vyakaran nowadays, but there are number of Vyakaran disciplines were there at that time. Parni has mentioned some of those, but we can say that the number of Vyakaran discipline were there in ancient time, but nowadays those are not available. In the same way, Nirukt, how you can derive the meaning of that particular term, that those such type of text is called as Nirukt. And again, where you are finding prosodical rules, that is Chand. And in the same way, when you are counting the time, which time is helpful to solve the particular issue, that is mentioned by Jyotish, or astrology and astronomy. And later on we see the uh, darshan, philosophical disciplines. And normally we find there are two heterodox and orthodox uh, different disciplines, uh, which are Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisesik, Mimamsa, Vedanta, and Charvak, Bodh, Jain. But if you see uh, before 13th century, in 13th century, there is a text Sarvadarshan Sangrah of Madhavacharya. If you are viewing that text, you can find that these 9 disciplines have been categorized later on. But before that, we find there are number of disciplines were there. Madhvacharya in 13th century, he is mentioning 16 discipline in the text that is available nowadays, and that is in the syllabus of different universities. So uh, and in uh, this one, uh, Sir Gangana Jha, he has written commentary on that text. In the starting part, he is writing that here in this text we are finding 16 disciplines. But if we see earlier text, we can find a number of disciplines. So nowadays we are finding only 9, but we can say that it was just uh, saved part. But in earlier time we have so many disciplines of philosophy. And not only this one, nowadays also you find Kashmir Saivism and the different types of Kashmir Saivism. Later on we see the Upaved of that particular Sanghita or Ved, regarding Ayurved, Dhanurved, Gandhara Ved, Sthapatya Ved, and each and every discipline has number of texts. I have quoted some of those, but these are just glimpse. You can find more and more. And regarding philosophy of philology, you can find different texts. Specifically, if you are talking about philosophy of language, the Vakyapadi, that is the most important text, and Mahavasya. These are the most important text for philosophy of language. In the same way, if we are talking about classical, or we can say Laukik Sahitya, here you can find different types of texts, where epic or historical epic, or you can say that that champu, which is mixed with prose and poetry. Such type of text you can find it easily. If you are categorizing it in different scientific literature, you can find the text which is concerned with which is narrating about music, which is talking about calm, or prosodical rules, or lexicography, or grammar, and such type of different discipline which we are finding nowadays. We can go through those texts, we can understand. For example, if you are talking about the behavior of a king, and who will be the king, which type of king is beneficial for the country, the nation, what will be the eligibility of the minister, all these things, these are mentioned in Arthashastra of Kautilya. You are very you can know him easily if you are talking about Maurya dynasty. So Kautilya Arthashastra is very important text. In the same way, if you are talking about philosophy of language, if you are talking about code of conduct, we have earlier we have mentioned the text of different smriti text, like Yagyavalkya Smriti, Manu Smriti. So you can find all different types of texts. So in this way, you can categorize all these terms, all these technical things. Now, something which is quite general thing which we need to follow while we are translating the text or reading the text. First of all, when while we are studying, at that time we need to think that you are quite, you are not aware with anything. It should not be presuppositions that you have already thought that in this text they have mentioned in such way. First of all, you need to remove this one, such type of notion, and don't go on extreme imagination. First of all, you need to go to the text and you need to understand that particular text. And another thing, normally what we do, if we are trying to learn Buddha Charitam, we are just reading the preface of that text, so which is written by someone, and we are making assumption that in this text these such type of things have been given, or you are just reading the some one or two chapters, and you are saying chapter or sarg, and you are saying that in this text such type of things are there, or you are just quoting one or two slok from that text, and you are saying that in this text I have studied this one. So we need to avoid such tendency. And another thing, when you are reading the text, at that time you need to go through the original text. I mean to say, if it is written mainly in Sanskrit, you need to read Sanskrit only first. Or to get help, you can read English translation or Hindi translation later on. First of all, you need to go through the original text. For example, I am saying, while you are reading Manusmriti, which is normally ambiguous text in the society, for certain issues. When you are reading Manusmriti, the Hindi translator or English translator, they are translating verbal forms in different way according to their own perception, according to their own view. But if you go through the original text, then you will find the verbal root, and as per verbal root you can extract the actual meaning, and that actual meaning the author has been conveyed. But we are just reading translation, and we are saying this one he has written. He has not written. It is written by the translator. You need to mention this one, but you are mentioning that Manu Maharaj has written this one, or Acharya Kautil has been written in such way, but he has not written. He has written in a traditional text which is written in Sanskrit, and the verbal root is saying different thing. And another thing, when you are learning about the Sanskrit text, you need to understand the actual meaning of that particular verb, because for one verb or one object you will find different types of word, and you need to understand why he has used that particular noun or adjective or verb in that particular place. For example, we can take one verb, one term which is very famous. You can easily understand Draupadi, which is the who was an important part of Mahabharata. Draupadi. For Draupadi, Yudhishthir is using in Kiratarjuniyam two different terms. First one is Krishna, and another one Drupadatmaja. So we need to understand that when author is writing, author is giving the term, specific term, what is the actual notion for that? Why he is using this term? Another example, in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. In Srimad Bhagavad Gita, he is using different synonyms of that particular term, particularly for Krishna or Arjun. So what is the specific notion for that? Why he has used the term Kaunte? Why he has not used Arjun? Why he has not used Parth? You need to go in deeper part. For last example, regarding Draupadi, when he is using Krishna, he wished to convey that he is concerned with Krishna, and Krishna is knowing everything, how to behave with someone, and he is with morality. To convey that morality, he is using Krishna term. And in the next slok, next verse, when he is using the term Drupadatmaja, at that time the poet just trying to convey that he was the daughter of a king, and she has a specific power, and she can't accept the such type of situation. That's why he has used Yudhishthir has used for her Drupadatmaja, the daughter of Drupad. So you need to understand the specific term which is used there. And another thing, when you are trying to translate the text, at that time you need to keep in mind that the author, the text, the scenario of that text, all these are associated with the culture of Bharatvarsh. When you are trying to extract the meaning, at that time you need to keep in mind. If you are forgetting this thing, because who has written the text, that is very important thing. Where it has been written, that is important thing. If you are forgetting it, then you will not do the justice with that specific literature. And another one, whenever you are trying to uh, understand about the Sanskrit literature, at that time you keep in mind that Sanskrit is not the language only. It is the way of life. So either you are learning Sadharam Pundarik Sutra, or Buddha Charitam, or Saundaranandam, or any text. At that time you need to keep in mind. Normally we are forgetting when we are translating it. We are just trying to translate as it is. If you are translating as it is, then sometimes you will get confused, and the actual meaning will not be conveyed. Okay. And when you are trying to learn about the text, you will find the old text, some manuscripts also, uh, some modern literature also, scientific literature also. So each and everything, when you are trying to learn, you need to keep in mind all these things. And for that I am giving some examples how you need to learn, how you will see the text. Okay, I have taken. Okay, no problem. I will continue this one the next day from here. Next day we will continue uh, almost essential literature regarding lecture has been finished. One or two slides are there. After that, we will show the hierarchy and different texts from Buddhist literature, how it has been developed, and up to Sadharma Pundarik Sutra, and nowadays the literature is which literature are there. We will try to show as a tree in the next class. I think the Tuesday is reserved for Rana sir. I will talk to him, and he will engage after on Wednesday. That will be better. Tuesday I will complete all these hierarchy, and after that I will start the main text from Thursday. So now, if you have any question, any doubt, you can ask so that we can complete this one. Okay. And one thing which I am finding here, um, maximum of you are not attending the workshop, and you are just uh, enrolled, and you have paid the registration fee, but you are not attending. So for those learners, I am saying that you, if you are not honest with your duty, then it will be problematic for you. While we will award with e-certificate, that will be very problematic, because who is not here, it means they are just uh, registered only. Okay. So now you can ask if any question, any doubt. And on Tuesday, that will be very interesting thing, because I will take some examples from different text, how you will read the text, how you will and take overview of the text. I will give some examples from Kautilya Arthashastra and Meghadutam. So that will be interesting. Be there that day. Yes, now you can ask.
Sir, you raised a very interesting point that why are synonyms used? Can you only explain why they are used, like why Arjun is called Parth? Because
Sorry.
can you only explain why synonyms are used, say in Gita or any Sanskrit text for that matter, instead of Arjun? Why is he called Parth? Because it conveys a certain attribute, or it conveys, like his origin, or what?
Yeah.
What is the point of using many synonyms?
See, when you are reading Sankara Bhasha, specifically regarding Gita, it is quite clear. When he is using Rishikesh, when he is using Gudakesh, when he is using Kaunteya, when he is using Parth, so that has specific condition. Why he is using? Why he is using? When he is trying to show specific relation with Kunti, and when he is trying to show that it is just concerned with mortality, at that time he is using Kaunte. When he is trying to show the king relation with that king particularly, or kingdom, at that time he is using Parth. So there's not only in these two texts, you will find in almost all different types of text, they are using in such way. If you see Pratima Natakam of Bhas, not only Veda Vyas, not only Kalidas, not only Kira Bharavi, we see in the Bhas text, Pratima Natak, he is using for specifically Bharat for Bharat, and Kaikeyi for Ram. They are giving and Lakshman. They are using different synonyms. So most of the time he is using Kaikeyi Putra, while he is just trying to blame that you are the son of Kaikeyi, and you are also having same attitude. So when author is trying to convey this notion, at that time he is using Kaikeyi Putra. Otherwise he is using Bharat. So, according to context, we can assume and we can identify these specific part. Then we can understand the specific meaning. Otherwise, if you are reading Hindi translation or Sanskrit translation, sorry, English translation, or even Sanskrit commentary also, they are just using the meaning, simple meaning. Either it is Konte, either it is Parth, either it is Arjun, all they will be Arjun only. Okay, so that's why normally it is said that when you are translating, at that time that will be just like nirjeev, or the atma will not be there. Okay, uh, हिंदी में कहते हैं आत्मा उसकी मर जाती है, तो यही दिस इज द सेम थिंग. एनीथिंग
you
एल्स?
mean to say कि अगर हम शब्दार्थ करते हैं तो उसकी आत्मा मर जाती है, तो ट्रांसलेशन में भावार्थ करना चाहिए.
नहीं नहीं नहीं, उसको इंटरप्रेट मत करिए. ये कह रहा हूं कि जिस भाव में, जिस संदर्भ में
संदर्भ
प्रयोग किया गया है, आप उसी संदर्भ में उसी धातु के अनुरूप आप ग्रहण करिए. ठीक. अगेन फॉर एग्जांपल, देयर आर number of synonyms for wife, patni. If you are using the term kanta, that will give different meaning. If you are giving saying kalatra, that will give different meaning. Okay, it will be these will be that these will show that different situations. Okay, so you can't say kalatra, which is just newly married woman. You can't say that he is the kalatra of that particular person, or who is not giving specific affection. You can't say that she is the kanta. And it is not only the tendency of poetic text, but also in literary text also, or this one, the sahitya shastra text. You can find in the same way when the Mamatacharya, Acharya Mamat is saying Kanta Sammit Upadesh. He is not saying that Stri Sammat Upadesh or Patni Sammat Upadesh. He is saying Kanta Sammit Upadesh. Means Kanta will be only that woman whom whose husband is loving extremely. Only that woman will be treated as Kanta. Okay, so we need to understand the actual meaning of that particular term, the origination of that particular term, the rules and regulations of the theories, different theories. Today itself, I was talking about rasa dosh. The example is, he is going to bath in the Ganga river. To go, he is using hanti. But hanti, and if you see the Sanskrit grammar, that is quite okay. Han hinsa gatyo, han, verbal root han is used for hinsa, to kill and to go, but it is not used earlier, and it is not capable to give the actual meaning. That's why hanti can't express that specific meaning to go. So we need to understand different situations, different theoretical aspects, and different contexts, different meaning of verbal roots. Then only we can say that this is the actual meaning. So that's why I am saying जो कि जब अनुवाद करते हैं तो आत्मा मर जाती है. Okay, anything else? I think it is enough for today. If you have any doubt, queries, or any question, you can ask. Otherwise, I am binding it up.
Yes, sir. Sir, actually, I think there is some problem with the Google Classroom. Initially, I joined, but now when I click, it says invitation not found, even after clicking on the email again.
Okay, no issue at all. If you are not at Google Classroom, because I will give one homework to all of you, so that at the end of this class, you need to complete that homework, and that will be given probably next week. So that to find those homework, you need to be there, Otherwise, I will see in which way you can take it easily. If you have Gmail ID, then I think there is no issue at all. Otherwise, I will send again the invitation. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Don't
Thank you.
worry. If you are in the
Yeah.
class, don't worry.
Yes, sir.
If you are not with your own duty, then you need to afraid. Otherwise, everything is okay, because we all are here to gain something. Because if you are spending your time, you must find something. Otherwise, it will be just a formal workshop that is not for only just for e-certificate. Okay, because certificate is quite different thing. Knowledge is most important thing. And if you are finding any trouble to understand what I am conveying, at that time you just try to convey me. Okay, otherwise I am understanding that I am going in right direction. Okay, so now I am uh, closing the session. Okay, thank you all of you. Next Monday we will meet again. Thank you.
Monday or Tuesday?